Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And credits. I like credits. You like credits. Everybody likes credits. Everyone really likes making lots of credits. Why? If you somehow have no idea, credits are an essential part of the in-game economy. You have to pay credits to rearm and repair your ship after battle, and of course you need them to buy the next ship in your tech tree and buy upgrades for the ship that you're currently grinding, right? So you definitely want to be making as many credits as possible. But of course there is the eternal struggle between the players and the economy, because it can be a real struggle bus when it comes to making a significant amount of credits in random battles, just given that how some random battles seem to go, especially here recently, right? And of course, if you are a free-to-play player, don't have any premium time, or you aren't using premium ships, that can be a real challenge to ensure you're making, well, just making credits at higher tier games, let alone making a lot of them. However, every now and then, Wargaming does throw us a bone with a couple of special events, like the Star Trek event, where we didn't even have to pay to play in that event, and everything you made in that event was pure profit. That was a pretty nice event, but along with that event, launched this update, the return of another favorite credit printing event, that is asymmetric battles. So, asymmetric battles are great for farming credits, especially if you use the right ship. But there are some tips and tricks that we're going to be going over in this video to ensure that you are maximizing your profitability when it comes to asymmetric battles. Now, just out of the gate here, asymmetric battles, the economy is not as good as random battles, but it is better than co-op battles, so it's somewhere in between. And given the fact that it's very easy, especially again when using the right ship, to get 300,000 damage in this mode with 6 or 7 ships sunk, yeah, that is still going to make you a lot of money. It's going to be easier making those credits in asymmetric battles than it would be, of course, in random battles. And yeah, asymmetrics did get nerfed to, did catch a nerf to the economy like 2 or 3 iterations ago. It's been quite some time since that nerf happened. But again, it's still very easy to make a decent bit of credits in this mode. So let's go ahead and start talking about these tips and tricks to maximize your profits, shall we? So, one of the easiest things you can do, which, well, I say it's easy, but for some players, of course, it's naturally going to be harder depending upon how many players you do know. Get a division up and running. That way you can control what ships are going to be joining your side of the team. Because this is the scenario that happened to me several times throughout the night when I was trying to record this background footage. I mean, I've been playing a fair amount of asymmetrics myself because I'm grinding out the dockyard there, which we'll get to that in a moment. But and I saw this happen oh so many times because I'm just single dropping into asymmetric battles. So, I'm taking my Pommern because it's a tier 9 premium ship, German brawler, great secondaries, great armor, torpedoes, hydro. Great for this mode, just one of the best ships in the game in my opinion for this mode. So naturally I'm hoping to catch a bunch of other tier 9 ships in queue, or some tier 9s and some tier 10s. So I'll drop into queue, and what do I see? I see a tier 9, another tier 9, a tier 10, a tier 9, and then there's some little goober in a tier 8. And I just go, ah! Because now what that means is that there are going to be a bunch of tier 6 bots on the enemy team. Because the way that the bots work in asymmetric battles is that you get tiers that are 2 tiers lower than your lowest tier ship. Now there are going to be, of course, some tier 7s as well in that on that bot side, but you still are gonna have those tier 6 bots, which are a full 3 tiers lower than you are in your tier 9 premium. At least how lower they were when I was in my Pommern, right? And when you're facing ships that are lower than you when it comes to the tier, the way the economy works is that you actually don't earn as much when you damage them, because you are bullying them, right? So yeah. Now, if you damage a same tier bot, that's a different story, or a higher tier, well, not a same tier bot, a same tier ship, or a higher tier ship, that's of course a different story. But you do earn less when you are doing damage to lower tier ships. So if you get a division up and running, and you can take a full 5-man division if you want to into this mode, you can control what ships you're going to go up against. So if you get some players and some tier 10 and some tier 9 ships, and you can get them together and drop into asymmetric battles, then yeah, you're gonna be facing tier 8 and tier 7 bots, which are ideal for you, especially if you are in a tier 8 a tier 9 premium ship, because doing damage to a bot that's one tier lower than you, it's not that big of a nerf to your credit income as it is doing damage to a bot that's 3 tiers lower than you, right? So make sure you get that that 5-man div together if you can. Now, you can also take super ships into asymmetric battles if you really want to. I would not advise that because super ships are designed to lose credits, and you're playing in a mode with a lesser economy than random battles already. So yeah, I wouldn't really do that. I haven't seen too many players doing that in random battles. I'm sorry, in asymmetric battles, unless you want to be the sacrificial lamb for like a tier 10 division, because you can only have a 1 tier difference between the ships in your division. So unless you want to be the sacrificial lamb to drag in some tier 9 bots for your tier 10 buddies to bully and make money off of, you could do that. Which I guess if you're fine with losing credits that round. But yeah, I wouldn't advise against, I wouldn't advise that. Just, get a bunch of tier 9s and tier 10 ships together and drop together in that mode. Also, type of ships you want to be taking, well, ships that are great brawlers. They got tough armor, good secondaries, or really any ship that you're comfortable doing a lot of close quarters action in, because the bots love to just kind of slap W and sell right at you. They are improved over the original asymmetric bots, which, funny enough, that was actually the original intention of asymmetric battles, was to test out new bot AI. So yeah, we've kind of just been training them to get better at murdering us. So anything that you can do great in close quarters combat against other ships and survive, because believe it or not, it can be a little challenging to survive against this many bots, especially if you're dropping by yourself with a bunch of random players. You can get some interesting teammates. I'll leave it at that. So you want to be something that you can take a bunch of damage in and return it with interest. It could be something like the Soviet battleships, German battleships. If you've got something like the Michelangelo, that's also really good. Anything really with secondaries, good secondaries, I should say, you can very much have a good time here in asymmetric battles. So when it comes to what you need to be doing in the mode, definitely you want to be going after destroyers and cruisers first. Why? Well, if you're taking something like a Pommern or a brawling battleship, those are ships that you could easily clap with like 1 or 2 salvos, especially again going against lower tier 1s. Several times I have just completely murdered a tier 7 cruiser with a single click of the button. It's truly a beautiful thing. But anyway, why? Because even though those guys have a tinier HP pool, and you may not get a big number like you might if you clap a battleship for 20 or 30k, the way the game rewards you is that it rewards you versus the damage. It rewards the damage you do to a ship versus its overall HP. So with something like a destroyer, if you have a ship with good HE, or like you're in a battleship and you load HE, and keep in mind these are again bots that you're going up against. The destroyers kind of sell in a straight line. They're not too dancy. Throw a whole salvo of HE at that destroyer, especially if it's a destroyer that's a couple tiers lower than you. You very well might just delete him in one salvo. And what you just did there is the same as if you had done that to a battleship. The game doesn't really care too much about the big number you get at the end. It cares more about what you did in order to get that number, right? So if you completely delete a destroyer, yeah, you're making some money there. And that's true in random battles too. This is something that I've said many a times before, and that's just how the economy works. So you definitely want to be doing that. And again, same effect with light cruisers and cruisers that you can easily tap out with just a salvo or two. Get those out the way, and then you can get on to farming, those juicy enemy bot battleships. What I typically do is that I'll have my secondaries focusing on the nearest battleship, just setting some fires and getting that damage over time going. And I'll use my main guns to start, popping these cruisers or popping these destroyers out of existence to ensure that you're getting that nice credit income while you're also getting a nice bit of farming damage on those enemy battleships with your secondary guns. So that's pretty neat. Also in asymmetric battles, I know it's asymmetric battles, it's all about bullying the bots. get those caps still. Those caps are still worth a lot of XP, and XP in turn, of course, rewards you with credits. So often do I see these caps just be completely left alone, or players will even let the bots take them and then not worry about taking them back, which is pretty funny. And I get it, in most cases you should win against the bots, but if it's just there, I mean, go get it. That's a free, in random battles, it's a free 1,000 base XP. But in asymmetric battles, while it's not that, it's just free XP and free credits that you're just leaving on the table, fellas. So make sure you're taking those caps. Another thing, you may also want to take something that's got pretty decent AA, because the enemy CV, the bot CV AI, does not know how to dodge anything. I'm getting like 20-30 plane shot down with friggin' Pommern in this mode, which is really funny considering how bullied German battleships are in random battles by CVs. So if you take something that's got a little bit more punch to the AA, you can very easily, completely deplane the enemy CV within, a few minutes. Granted, I am getting 20-30 planes shot down on Pommern, so you may even need to worry about that. But make sure you are focusing your AA on those planes, selecting your priority sector and all that jazz, because planes are worth a surprisingly hefty amount of XP in the in-game's economic calculations. So if you can, munch on those planes every time they come on by and completely wipe out that squadron, oh yeah, definitely do that and get those credits added into your total income. Also, economic bonuses. This is not exactly a bad time to use them either, especially if you've been getting like the blue ones from the dockyard or from the event, event collection. That is definitely a good. This is definitely a good time to use them. I'm not saying you're going to be getting like the maximum effectiveness out of them compared to random battles, but if you know what you're doing, you go into a div with 5 of your buddies. You're all taking tier 9 and tier 10 ships. It's not a bad idea because you can very easily get over 1,000,000 credits per round. Again, if using a tier 9 premium like the Pommern, that's great at farming. You've got those blue economic bonuses slapped on there. Would I use the red ones? Probably not. Those I would reserve for like clan battles and ranked. But definitely not asymmetrics. Blue ones, yeah, I'd go ahead and use those because, again, right now you probably get a good amount of them from the dockyard and from the Santa Container event. Speaking of the dockyard, asymmetric battles can also be used to grind out the dockyard. So make sure you're doing that as well. I use it to get quite a few stages done over the past weeks since I've been since I'm on break for Christmas here. So definitely make sure you're going after those dockyard objectives in asymmetric battles. I haven't really had to try too hard right now to get them done in asymmetric battles, but I mean, shoot, dang, it's pretty easy either way from what I've seen here so far. And of course, we can get those stages done. You get 10,000 credits for those stages, or a dockyard token, which 10,000 credits may not sound like a whole lot, but if you're completing a couple of these stages as you're doing your asymmetric battles, I mean, more credits are indeed more credits, right, fellas? So those are some pretty simple tips and tricks to get your maximum profit out of asymmetric battles. It's really not that hard to do as long as you're using your brain and not just selling. One last thing. Don't just derp into the enemy bots. I've seen so many ships just go straight in, head first into the teeth of the bots. They are bots, they are lower tier than you, but their guns still hurt. There's more of them than there are of you. And, the last thing you need to be doing is dying in the first 5 minutes of an asymmetric battle, and just absolutely just turning what could have been a very profitable run into just pure misery. So, yeah, you do have to use some of your brain when playing this mode, believe it or not. So make sure you are. Now, the results. So, the games you've been watching in the background, might have been one game, might have been two game. These were worst case scenario games. Someone against some goober took a tier 8. We got stuck with him matchmaking, came up against a bunch of tier 6 bots. Still got like 5, 6, 7, 8k credits shy of 1,000,000 credits in the Pommern. It's really not that bad. Pretty dang good. So if you got your buddies in a div with tier 9, tier 10 ships, Oh yeah, these would have been easy a million plus credit rounds. And again, this is on palm run using blue economic bonuses, which again they've been giving out in the dockyard, and of course you probably got some in your Santa containers as well. So not the worst place in the world to use them. And again, keep what I said in mind. Go after those destroyers, take those caps, clap those cruisers, murder those planes. You're making a hefty amount of credits in no time. So guys, let me know what your experience with Asymmetrics has been like so far. How has your farming gone? Are you doing pretty well? Got your dockyard missions? You're getting your dockyard missions knocked out as well. Let me know all that jazz in the comments down below. I for some reason can no longer talk. It's pretty late. I've had a pretty busy day today. But anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Again, go out, make money, spend wisely. I hope to catch you guys in the next one.